got a phone call this morning that really bothered me. So let's talk about it. Somebody referred a homeowner over to me because they needed to sell their home. And they call me and they say, "Hey, Nicole, my name is so and so. I need to sell my house. I've already talked to two agents. We know we're going to need to pay to sell this house. We're just looking for the best deal at this point." And somebody pointed me towards you. And I said, "Okay, well, why do you think that you need to pay to sell your house? Let's talk about that." And they said, "Well, we bought it last year. It hasn't even been a year. But back in February, our mortgage payment doubled and we can't afford it anymore. So we just need to get rid of the house." And I said, "Okay, let's talk about this for just a second." And I said, "Why did your mortgage payment double? Did you have like a 1 year rate buy down that changed it? Did you do a cash out refi? Like, what happened that your mortgage payment just magically doubled?" And they said, "I have no clue what happened." And I said, "Okay, you said it happened back in February?" And they said, "Yeah, just randomly in February, it doubled." And I said, "Okay, I think I might know what's going on. Can you give me 20 minutes to research it? And I promise I'll call you back and we can talk through this." And they said, "Yes." So I research it and I call them back and I say, "Hey, I found your problem. Do you live in this home? It's your primary residence?" And they said, "Yeah, it's the only home that we have. Of course we live in it." And I said, "Okay, I know what happened. You did not file for your 4% tax break for your legal residence. Here in South Carolina, when you purchase a home, it automatically defaults to 6% as if it were a investment property. You have to file for your legal residence tax break for it to go to 4%. And I said, "That never happened. I can see where your mortgage payment went up because your mortgage company paid that high tax bill, like which was significantly higher than it should have been." And so they obviously readjusted for that change and they're trying to collect not only what they paid out on the tax bill, but what's going to be on the tax bill this year because they assume your tax bill is much higher than they initially thought it would be. And I said, "So easy fix. This is how you go about changing it. This is what you need to do. And you can get that money back and it's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out." And they said, "Oh, that's awesome. We don't have to sell our house." And I said, "Not if you don't want to. I mean, if you want to, you can, but you don't have to. Here's the thing. Here's how we're going to fix it. Your mortgage payment's going to go back to what you agreed it would be when you purchased the home." And they said, "Oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you so much." But what really bothered me is they talked to two other agents and they told me, they said, "Nicole, you're the only one that told us this is what the issue is. The other two agents have called us obnoxiously to ask us when we're listing and if we're ready to sign paperwork and we can get it on the market this week. And, let's get things moving. Let's get the ball rolling." And they're like, "I can't believe that neither of them noticed it, said anything. All they cared about was listing our home." And that bothered me. Obviously I apologized for other people, which weird thing to say, but I apologize that that is something they experienced. But agents, can we please do better at caring more about our people than we do our paycheck? Because the fact that two agents were forcing this guy into selling his house rather than looking at what the problem is really just bothers me. I've been thinking about it all day. So, yeah, let's do better, guys.